Greetings to all life forms and life workers who have found this Tarot Tutoring Episode 1 Fidelity of the Fool. I'm your host, E.Ts, for this series. This will be the first introductory to tarot. So, how this will be formatted, I have 4 decks, each one with different energies, all based on the original intent and structure of the Visconti-Sforza or the Visconti decks from the 1500s, 15th century, the 1400s, here on planet Earth. And the tarot dates back farther, depending on who you believe and what energies you follow. A brief history of the tarot is we don't know. We think it goes back to the Visconti decks, but there's also tradition similar to the tarot that goes back to ancient Israel, that goes back to ancient Egypt, maybe even goes back farther than that. They had some form of paper tech, and they had some form of systemized illustrations, which is tarot in the most simplified sense. So I want to get off a big issue in the beginning, big problem that is common with most tarot readers, is the idea that all forms of divination are evil, and that anything that can be used for divination is evil. So I think of it this way, is a hammer can be used to build a house, can also be used to break a window and take someone else's house by murdering them with said hammer. Does this mean that all hammers should be banned? Should this mean that all hammers are negative things because some people use them for negative purposes? I don't think so. So a candle can light the way or burn down the bridge. Being able to understand what you're doing and the consequences and the intent of what you're doing is very important with the tarot. And by just acting intuitively but without trusting your instinct, without doing the research of what you're doing, can cause issues for you and the society as a whole. So we will begin with the Fool, which is oftentimes either the first or last card of the major arcana. Arcana means secret, and in the tarot is broken up into the major and minor arcana. We will begin with the major. I do recommend you might want to take some notes. Even if you don't have any of these 4 decks, I will be discussing what each deck symbolizes in the idea of that deck, but I will also symbolize the archetype of the Fool at the end in a more universal way that can be applied to any tarot deck. So we will begin. So one more structural thing before we start is I will show you the card. I will read from the book, and then I will add things that I have learned and found out that do not apply with the book to this card intuitively. You can take what you like and leave what doesn't. Know that the tarot is not one thing for everybody. One book's definition of the tarot, one school of thought's definition of the tarot, is not true for every practitioner or user of these cards. So trust your intuition and know that the actions you do to others will be done back to you. The intentions and energies you use these cards for will be amplified back to you. So use them very wisely. We begin with the Fool. A skinny figure depicted wearing leggings behind a tapestry with feathers in his hair, holding a staff, with his feet exposed. Okay, I'll read this to you now. The young man depicted as the Fool stands barefoot. His right stockings are worn through at the feet. The Fool is dressed sparingly in bright undergarments and a thin, ragged coat. His right hand holds a club that rests on his right shoulder. 7 feathers protrude through his curly hair. His unshaven face has a shaggy, forked beard. The background design of this card, as in most of the major arcana of this Pierce Morgan deck, contains a decorated rectangular pattern border containing repetitive tooled dots, generally 7 dots in a circle and 1 center dot. The border surrounds an overall gold background, decorated by the repeating suns with 8 wavy rays within the diamond or Lanzin shaped pattern. The divination meaning: beginning of an adventure, enthusiasm, intuitive, new opportunities beckon, unlimited potentials. Inconsistence, passion, rashness, impulsiveness, obsession, mania, folly, thoughtlessness, lack of discipline, immaturity, irrationality, ferocity, capricious actions, spontaneity, unrestricted access, carelessness, inattentiveness to important details, information, incandescence, tendency to start a project without carefully considering the details, reluctance to listen to advice. The person drawing this card should be careful not to be tempted by which appears better than it really is. Care must be taken to avoid foolishness. Reverse meaning is faulty choice or bad decision, indirection, apathy, hesitating instead of deliberately proceeding ahead. So that's a lot of stuff here. So this is a very loosely interpreted card, like all the ones in this deck, was intended for game playing. But this idea of the Fool is continued throughout almost all tarot. This is an entity, a character, who is intuitive, follows their intuition, but doesn't think about the consequences of their actions or how to continue the action. They start something without finishing it. They begin projects and energies that they do not fully understand, which prevents them from seeing the end of these things. We are the Fool. The Fool is any person at any point in your life who has ignorance but desire to learn. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what you know, and be open to those things being proven incorrect. Do not hold on fast to your ideas, and know that the only difference between a fool and a wise man is the fool thinks he's wise and goes against that wisdom. The wise man is told he is wise, but in his mind acts foolishly. My message is here. For the first deck is the Visconti Fool. Now we will move to the Rider-Waite-Smith Fool. Folly, mania, extravagance, intoxication, delirium, frenzy, bewilderment, in reverse. Negativity, absence, disturbance, carelessness, apathy, nullity, vanity. So the way we perceive ourselves and the way that we act in the world is often misconstrued. The way people perceive us are rarely fully understood, because we perceive the world through our intuition, through our primal force. But sometimes we get so overtaken by this that we do not want to understand that our guides, our energies are telling us that we will get hurt if we continue in this pattern. So we continue and get hurt, heal, and learn, but if we were to listen, be aware of our surroundings, be conscious of what is happening, we will find the pathway down instead of the fall. In this card, some added symbols is the flower in the palm of the hand, which is a symbol a blossoming, of beginning, of opening up to new ideas. The close has fruit growing off the vine, which is abundance, prosperance, in some form vanity, how we perceive ourselves. This fool is as noticeable, more well-dressed, and is carrying a bundle at the end of the stick. This is all the fool needs. This is all they need to survive. So when learning the tarot, the Rider-Waite is an inspiration for most tarot decks, even heavy or light inspiration. And understand that the Fool is both the beginning and the end of the tarot. We begin the process knowing nothing, believing we know everything. We end the process thinking we know nothing, but understanding everything. How we perceive our knowledge and how we act on it is the difference between the Fool and the Master. But if you ask the Master, he sees the Fool as the Master. It is just how we perceive things and how we choose to act on those things based on our intuition, our perception, and our mania, our mindset of those things. So, next we will go with the Shadows of Oz Tarot. We begin with the Fool. Dorothy Gale, a simple, innocent girl of about 12 years old, walks confidently along a road of yellow bricks. She wears a dress of blue and white. She is at the beginning of a great journey, and unaware of dangers ahead of her. She carries a wicker basket, swinging it around grandly as she strides forth. What she does not see is that the road before her has caved in. A massive ravine divides the road, and she will suddenly tumble into it. Her loyal dog, Toto, small, black, and wiry, barks ferociously to warn her away from the edge. Reading, innocence, beginning, surprise, disruption, the shadow notes. This is a card of optimism, of beginnings, of youth, of foolhardiness. It is the foundation of the journey through the trumps and the archetypal conditions of humankind therein. It is hope. It is danger, opportunity and possibility of a trap. You might get fooled, and though you start the journey on your own 2 feet, you are not alone. You have your dog. It is the fool's prerogative to be lucky and protected. Dorothy Gale and Turtle first appeared, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This card art is done by Trina Robbins. So to add on to that is Dorothy is a kind, loyal, loving individual. She cares of this dog of her heart, and so does Toto care of her. But she can be oblivious, and she can forget that she has the magic silver slippers with her the entire time. At any time she can cast her magic to be taken to any location she wishes. But she continues the journey, follows the yellow brick, unaware of where those steps are taking her. Know that after many travels, after a long time, Dorothy masters and listens to Toto and understands her safety. But by being aware of what's happening, knowing what is beginning and what is ending, and how to best master these traits, you will always step lightly into the most beautiful of all outcomes. Okay, so the fourth card here. From the San Mortre Book of the Dead Tarot by Fabio Listrani. Hopefully I said that correctly. Card 0, the Fool. Whether it be the beginning or the end of a new project or journey, what the Fool brings with him is a great flood of energy, a feeling of lightness, of novelty. The road on which he finds himself, whether going towards or moving away from something, can be seen as an escape or as a liberation. It is nevertheless always illuminated by intuition and perceptivity. If we are in the middle of a problem or a negative moment, this is because the card can bring with it as baggage things like chaos, impulsiveness, indecision, and can lead to irrational choices, incoherence, and or the flightlessness of the butterfly. The advice of the dead. Continue along your road having focused on your objectives. Often, traveling lightly and freeing yourself of some baggage can help you channel your energies better. So, we can add the symbolism here. The Fool is stepping out from a grave, in a graveyard. The sun is not in the corner, is in the center. In the center of the sun is a monarch butterfly, which is a symbol of royal sovereignty and metamorphosis, changing from a point of ignorance to a point of wisdom. They're carrying baggage, an anchor, a gun, a guitar, old processes, old energies that are weighing them down, holding them with the baggages of love. The things that they have loved in the past, they hold tightly to, which prevents them from the freedom of movement in their journey. They're in a cemetery, honoring all those who have passed before them as they begin or end their cosmic journey. So, that is what the books have to say. And I added my intuition here. So the grand infinite archetype of the Fool that exists in all time and space, in all places, in all moments, is the archetypal human spirit of exploration, of expression, of understanding, and of whimsy, of belief, but intuition, of knowing, acting, and awareness. In the reverse position, the Fool is always indecisiveness, inaction, insincerity, insecurity, where all these things are reversed. The Fool is secure in themselves and their ability to create with their magic. They know that they are here to bring joy, happiness, and laughter, but oftentimes they forget to listen to their companion. They forget to share the experience with their animal friends because they themselves are guided by their own intuition. But by bringing both of these forces together, by being aware of your surroundings and being aware what is happening next, before, and most importantly right now, being aware of this now moment and being able to allow this moment to take us to the next power, to the most definitive journey of the trumps, of the major arcana, of bringing this lesson of freedom, of exploration, of beauty into this world in our own unique and magical ways. When the Fool comes up, no matter what deck, know that the Fool is the master and the student. The Fool is the one who is aware and the one who is unaware. The Fool exists both as consciousness and unconsciousness. Depends on the experience of the individual. The Fool will continue us through this tarot journey all the way. And know that a Fool is full of possibilities, full of influence, as long as they are not foolish to their intuition, to their guides, their teams, and to the whole world around them. I will leave you with the messages of kindness, love, and everlasting joy. See you in the next card. Much love.